Someone You Should Know. A program about people you know and even more that you don't. Hosted by Stuart Sax, veteran, husband, father, and grandfather. Now, here's your host, Stuart Sax.
Well, if you're joining us live on a Wednesday morning, I say good day to you and welcome. And thanks for tuning in to Someone You Should Know. If you're catching us on YouTube or Spotify or any of the other platforms that we're on just at your leisure, we also thank you for doing that too. We are brought to you, as we are almost always, by our good friend Christine Dean, who is the networking diva. Now, Christine knows absolutely everything there is to know about social media, about marketing, about strategies, and putting you together with the people that you want to reach, whether it's through social media or connecting for podcasting or in any way. Reach out to Christine Dean. You can get a free consultation with her to find out what she does and how she can help you and your business and your presence on social media. She is truly an angel because she helps me every week to get through this program, and I am very, very grateful. Christine Dean, thenetworkingdiva.com, and you can reach out to her. Well, today we're going to have a very, very interesting conversation because the young lady that is joining me today has been a nurse for more than 30 years, and she has taken what she has learned through nursing and channeled it into a new direction. And for 6 years, she has been helping the elderly live their final years in the most quality way possible. And we're going to talk about her organization. And I welcome to the show Emma Soy. Welcome. Very, very, very glad to have you, Emma.
Thank you, Stuart, for having me today. I am excited for the next.
It's a pleasure because when I connected and I started learning more about you, and by the way, folks, right underneath Emma's beautiful face is the name of her organization, the Gentle Shepherd Care. And it's an organization that you're really trying to put a new handle on what it means for people to live their final years in the very best way possible.
That's my dream. That's my goal.
And was that the dream and goal that you had through 30 years as in nursing, that you just said, you know, I see a lot of elderly people during nursing and all, and they're just not getting what they deserve as they approach the senior years of their life?
Actually, Stuart, when I started my business, I've been a nurse for over 35 years, and I've done what we call geriatric care management, which is helping older adults manage their care. So I've done it in different settings, whether it's the hospital or community. And so about 6 years ago, I decided to add home care to my service. And so home care service is to help the older adults to age in their homes or wherever they call home, but with gracefully. So when I started the home care agency, my thought was for people who are aging in place, you know, who wants to stay at home and what have you. But what I discovered during those 6 years, number one, most people do not plan how they want to age. So aging just happened to them. So
Yep.
They don't plan how they want to age, where they're going to age, and how much it's going to cost. And so because of that, families are always responding to crisis. That's number one. Number two, most older adults, as they age, everything is left up to healthcare people, their doctor. So you have older people, older adults who are dealing with chronic diseases, and everybody's taking pills and no other options. And so because of that, in the past 6 years, I've been in a journey to change the way we care for our older adults. I believe older people, they have worked all their lives. When they are at the most vulnerable time of their lives, I believe every older person deserves the best care possible. And I don't know how many people I can help, but as many as who comes in my sphere, I want to make a difference in their lives.
Well, and I applaud you for that, and I think it's very, very simple for the people that are watching and listening to say, yeah, this is something that every person should have available to them, because you know, first of all, as our parents age, and now I'm in that category, uh, you look at the next generation, my children, and you say, oh, well, that's okay. If I get sick, my kids will take care of me. Well, that's not only is that sometimes not possible because the children are just too busy in order to take care of their parents, but they don't necessarily want to or have the knowledge and the ability to.
Well put. So families want their loved ones. They want, yes, you want your children to take care of you. That's great. That's wonderful. Number one, let's be realistic. We dealing with what we call today the sandwich generation. So most older adult, their children are also dealing with their own families. They're
That's
raising
right.
their own children. They are working full time, and they find themselves in the middle where they are taking care of two homes. They're taking care of moms and dad, and they're taking care of their own homes and their own health. So it's a lot of stress for them. Okay, so that's one. Let's say they do want to take care of you. The second thing is that they are not trained to take care of you. They're not trained to be caregivers. Depending what is
Right.
going on with you. Let's take an example. Someone who's dealing with chronic disease like Parkinson's. Okay, the person doesn't know, they are learning on the job. They don't, as the disease progresses, that person, the stress of just learning. I walk into a home, I see everything that needs to be done right away. I look at the bathroom, I look at the house, I look, because of my knowledge and experience.
Right.
That's 35 years. I
Yeah.
was trained to take care of people like that. And that person you just throw in as a caregiver, they're not trained to do that. So they have to learn. By the time they really get it, their body have to pay for it. Their back, all that stuff, because they don't have the proper training. Number three, yes, mom and your children can take care of you. They go from a different role. They no longer now your daughter who comes and have lunch with you. They become your caregiver. It's a different dynamic. It's a different relationship. And so by the time you actually transition, you have left this person, either daughter or son, they exhausted. And most family caregivers, unfortunately, they pass away shortly after they taking care of their loved ones.
And well, and also we are a much more mobile society today. For instance, my parents were in the Midwest.
Hmm.
I was living in Florida.
Hmm.
I was 3.5 hours by air if something happened to my
Yeah.
parents. My
Yes.
sister was closer, but she was 2.5 hours by car.
Yeah.
So, if you're fortunate enough to live in a home in a community where your parents are still there, so they're just down the street or
Yeah.
they're just, a 15, 20-minute drive, that's one thing. But today, it seems more so mom and dad are aging. Maybe they've retired in Florida
Yeah.
and they're aging in Florida. And also, all we can do is help financially,
Yes. Yes.
which of course that's part of the problem. But you don't know if mom and dad are taking their pills. You
Yeah.
don't know what pills they're taking,
Yeah.
and you're not involved in the medical decisions as much. You're leaving that up to other people. And as you've said in some of the information, uh, we live in a society today where we have a tendency to treat symptoms with
Hmm.
medication,
Hmm.
not the diseases
Yes.
or the
Yes.
core.
Yes.
So someone, as you said, who has Parkinson's or has onset dementia,
Hmm.
they to say, here, just take this pill and you'll be fine.
Hmm.
To me, that's like putting a dog in a cage and just feeding them and saying, good dog, here's your food, goodbye, I'll see you later.
And there is I'm not speaking ill of healthcare system, because it's the system. Our
Right.
system is not about taking care of prevention. Our system is set up to write prescription. It's not it's not the problem of the doctor. It's not because you have a bad doctor or whatever, but it's
Right.
the way the system works. When you go to the doctor, we do diagnosis, we write your prescription. So a lot of time we ourselves have never learned to take care of our health. We ourselves have turned over our health to someone else to care for it. Now, if you decide that's how you want to live, just know whatever they give you, that's what you're going to have to take. And so that's what happened with aging, with people aging in the community. Other people are making decisions for them. And when they make decision on what works for them. And so my thing is, I would love to see people taking responsibility for their own health early in their 50s and their 60s, really getting to know you and your body and caring for yourself, taking care, doing things that are taking care of your own health, taking responsibility for your own health, doing things that you need to do so you can live with vibrancy, vitality, strength, because that is not being prescribed. They can't prescribe that for you.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And there again, when you look at the atmosphere in some of the retirement centers, I mean, that's fine. There are retirement centers and there are retirement centers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of them are for active adults. They
Mm-hmm.
have tennis and pickleball and swimming pools and exercise facilities and people to assist. And these people are still active. But as we age and the bones and muscles start to break down, sometimes you're not as active as you would like to be. And so you need a little bit of help. And some of that help can be to work on the brain, keep the brain active.
Active. And so the other thing is, Stuart, when we talk about senior communities, the senior communities, their focus is on social.
Right.
It's not health. It's not, the focus is not, it's not your health. The social, the focus is on the socialization of the pickleball, the this and that. But the focus is not, how do I keep you, how do I keep you strong? How do I keep you from falling? How do I keep you this? What is it that we need to do? There is no one focusing on that, because as we age, the aging process is at the cellular level. So everything that happened to us is at the cellular level. There is no focus on that besides writing prescription for high blood pressure. When your blood pressure is high, the doctor give you a prescription, please take your pills. I'm not asking people not to take their pills. When the doctor write your prescription, did he fix the blood pressure issue? No.
No.
When they write you a prescription for metformin for diabetes, did it fix the problem? No. All these chronic diseases we've heard and we have read and we heard so many times. They call it chronic disease that are reversible. Meaning reversible, it means that things that we can do to change it. So that's done with lifestyle. And this is not easy, because it takes you, if you are 70, 80 years old, it takes you 70, 80 years to get you to here. But it's never too late.
So obviously, with all this passion that you have just shared with us, what is about 6 years ago or so, you said there's got to be a better way.
There got to be a better way.
And so what prompted you to start Gentle Shepherd Care?
So, as I said in the beginning, was to just add another service, because people wants to stay in their homes. But when I started home care, I watched my clients decline. I just watched them. I felt like I was in a dying business, because my clients were just coming, and I just watched them decline. And I was and I knew, I have knowledge. I knew there are things that we could do to help people slow down the progression of stuff, but nobody's doing it. So the focus was just pills. And I said, okay, so I'm like, well, what if we do this? For example, older adults, most of them are dehydrated all the time. And when someone is dehydrated, you have a higher risk of falls. You have a higher risk of getting dizzy, higher risk. So why don't we have a method of a way of adding that part, making that part of their lifestyle? Those key points, they're very easy, but the people don't have the accountability. They don't have the detailed knowledge to be able to implement these things. And so I felt like if I start implementing these things in my clients, that would give them a better outcome. I'm not going to stop the aging process, but I can slow down the progression or how well the person age, where they
Well,
don't have. Go ahead.
and also, like you say, you won't slow down the aging process, but what you will do is, instead of people just trying to get some additional quantity of life, you're there to give them quality
Yes.
of life too.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
it's interesting. You mentioned a little about technology. I wear a sports watch,
Mm-hmm.
and every half hour, my watch vibrates, and it says time to drink.
Good.
And
Yeah.
you brought up a very, very good point,
Yeah.
because I'm just not a liquid taker.
Yeah.
I forget about it. My wife is the one that's always saying, go pour yourself a glass of water. And
Yeah.
surprisingly enough, I have learned firsthand that sometimes I get up, and when my muscles hurt, or I get a Charlie horse or a cramp in my leg or something, it's probably because I am dehydrated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's something that's as simple as that. But as we age, we also have to remember to do that.
We
Because
don't.
while I'm thinking, gee, I wonder if mom took her pills this morning, I'm thinking to myself, did I take my pills this morning?
Yeah.
So, we're starting to talk a little bit about technology. Is there new technology that's playing into the system that now helps people with some of these issues?
Yes. So one of the things that that you just give an example about the watch. For sleeping, we have technology, the ring, that monitors sleep. So you didn't get to my what I know you had the question about the traditional home care and the holistic home care.
Yes.
I don't know if it's the right time for me to get into that. The
Yeah,
difference.
we can. In fact, folks, as we get into that discussion, again, the website is gentleshepherdcare.com. And we're going to scroll through a little bit of this while Emma is talking about that holistic and healthcare, because it's part of the website. And I invite everybody that's watching and listening to yourself, if you are aging, or if you have a parent that is aging. There is a lot of information that's on the website that you could avail yourself to. So yes, please, I want to know a little bit about the holistic
Yes.
healthcare issues as opposed to the traditional.
Yes. So my dream would be completely providing holistic home care. But as you embark in something new, most people don't have the time for that. They're like, oh, you know what? Give me the cheap part, the cheapest. What is there any option? So the conventional home care option is this. When someone would call me on the phone, they need me to go and help their mom or dad. They don't know what they're looking for. The reason that they call is because there was a fall, there is an event. So that's when they ask, oh, can somebody come and help my mom? Let me see, help her with her medication, remind her, help her with her personal care. She can shower on her own, she could do this. So they would usually, the conventional home care services assist with personal care, meal prep, medication reminders, light housekeeping, companionship, take the person to the doctor. That's conventional. That's what I started with. But
Right.
For me, that basically watch the person decline. You just watch this, and there was nothing else being done with that.
Right.
With my Premier Holistic Home Care, I have 6 keys, pillars that I add to my conventional. So it's conventional plus these. Number one, my target is hydration. I want my older adults to be hydrated. So then I design, how do we keep that person hydrated? Number one, I need to know your labs. I need to see. I'm a registered nurse. I know how to read and analyze labs. So I need to know where that person is. And so so hydration is number one. Number two is the type is nutrition. You know, as older as we age, most chronic diseases that we're facing today is because of how we eat, is because of our nutritional status. It's the things that we eat every day. And so I look at it, if the way we used to eat when you were in your 30s and your 40s, I do not recommend you to continue to eat that way at 70, 80, 90. You know, most older adults, I go into their homes, their breakfast is still Cheerios. That's not for an older person. You know,
or Rice Krispies.
Rice Krispies, something. Dinner is a hot dog and fries. That's really not for the person who's aging, because these are causing inflammation in the body, because that is what's causing the aches and the pain and the joints and all that. So then my focus is on how do we change? How do we help that person to refocus on the proper nutrition? Nutrients. Most older adults are low on certain nutrients. If you don't have the proper selenium, the magnesium, the proper nutrients for as you age, that you no longer produce, the hormones that you no longer produce as you age, we got to take a look at that. And so can we give you these things? Can you take those supplements? Can you you can't get enough of it in food. And so that's the focus. Hydration, nutrition, mobility. Most older adults, they don't want to move, not because they're lazy, it's because they're aching. It could be arthritis. It could be general inflammation. So we got to take a look at their inflammation status. How much inflammation do they have in their body? And how can we help? What can we do to decrease the amount of inflammation so they can move? Mobility become a key. We got to get that person to move no matter what. And so mobility become part of the daily part of care. And then the next thing is sleep. Sleep is so important. It's not just the person goes to sleep. So most older adults, they say, well, I don't have a problem sleeping. But nobody knows the quality of sleep that they get. So just because the person is snoozing all day, that does not mean they're having sleep, because they may not be sleeping well at night. They're not having, you should be sleeping at night, having quality of sleep at night. So you during the day, you can do things during the day, not snooping, not snoozing all day long, hanging out, sleeping here, and then whatever. That's not it.
You use that word quality again, because you know, I too, I can, if I sit down even to watch the news, I can nod off and all, and so that might mean that in a day I may sleep 9 hours during the day, but again, I go back to the watch. The watch will tell me that I've slept 8 hours last night, but only 2 of those were deep sleep. That the other 6 was just light tossing and turning. So while I thought I got an 8 hour of sleep, I really didn't get 8 hours of true rest.
Quality. And if you don't get quality of sleep, your body is not being restored.
It's cyclical.
The cells are not being cleaned. They're not being, things are not, that needs to be. God has a reason for us to need to have sleep, because during sleep, that's when everything is reset. So you need to have the proper amount of good sleep to reset. That is part of health, and that is part of longevity. That is part of aging.
And also another thing, what you do with home health care, you mentioned it just briefly, is when someone comes into the home, and both of my parents, I think in our initial discussion, I mentioned both of my parents passed away in the home that they lived in. They were in their home for more than 60 years. My father had brain cancer eventually, and had to have hospice care, but he refused to go someplace else. If he was going to pass, he wanted to pass in his home. So there was home health care available to him until he needed that home hospice care. My mother just passed away in her sleep. Probably just her heart just stopped, But again, she had neighbors that would come in to be with her, and that to her was worth more than being in a retirement center. She wanted to be in her home. People would come in, they would sit down, and they would talk to her for a little while. And she valued that time so much. And I think, that you would agree that time spent talking to people also about their ailments helps you get through to them what they need to do to feel better.
Yes, the talking with people depending on where they are in age too, Stuart. That's why I love to I do talks in the community and the 55 plus community when the person is young enough to be able to understand. Because by the time the person is like 90, whatever, they start having a little bit of dementia or whatever. They really don't want to care. They don't really want to implement anything you teach them. And they're like, oh, I'm just waiting to meet Jesus. I'm like, whatever. So, so it takes the family members to implement these things. It takes the daughter who knows what's better for mom and implement it. And as Stuart, as you were saying, I have never met an older adult who cannot wait to move in to an assisted living, no matter how fancy the place looks. I have never seen that. People would prefer to remain in their own homes.
In their familiar surroundings.
Their familiar surrounding, no matter how big their house is, no matter how small it is, they would prefer to be in their own beds. They would prefer to be in their own homes. And so if it's all possible, sometimes it is not. People have reasons why they need to be in assisted living. It's just not feasible for one.
Especially if there are some medical issues that that they can't take care of themselves, or it's not that easy, for them to get the care that they need.
For me, somebody can be. I've taken care of people all the way to until they transition because we provide 24-hour care. The one reason that people most likely aren't able to receive home care is because of cost. Cost is the only thing that would keep somebody receive care completely.
Well, but today, and because I have looked into that, sometimes the cost of being in a retirement center that has all of the meals, which again, you can provide somebody 3 meals a day, but are they going to take advantage of it?
Or quality of meals.
Yeah, exactly. When you start to compare the cost of that and the cost of having someone who is medically qualified to come visit you and knows how to take care of you and your needs, sometimes it's a wash.
It is.
The cost can be very cost effective,
but you can't compare one-on-one care with one to many, because there is no matter where you're going to an assisted living, you're going to have one caregiver taking care of 9, 10, up to 15 care clients.
Right.
And you cannot compare someone with you one-on-one 24-hour care. You can't. Absolutely. There was no price to put on that. When yes, the home care is more expensive when you look at it that way, but the quality of care is uncomparable.
Yeah. So it is really. Did you see in your years of nursing that there was this need, and was that what kind of inspired you to say, somebody's got to do something, and hey, I'm that somebody, so I'm going to start Gentle Shepherd Care.
Yes, so the home care industry is a several $billion industry. So there are lots of people in the business of doing home care. But a lot of home care agencies, they're not run by healthcare professionals.
Right.
Nothing is wrong with that. They run by
It's more
business
run as a
people.
business.
They run it. I bring a healthcare. I'm sure there are many home care agencies that are run by nurses too, but I come in from that healthcare perspective, from that nursing perspective. That's one thing. But the big change that I'm making in home care is to look at just not to provide people the basic and watch people decline. Is to provide that holistic care where we focus on things that slow down the progression of aging, progression of chronic diseases such as Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia. I'll give you an example. If you break your bone, like let's say you have a broken bone, you go to an orthopedic, he's going to put a cast in your arm or wherever the broken bone is. His goal is to fix it, right? So if you place somebody in a memory care unit, an older adult who has Alzheimer's dementia, why do you put them in there? Why do you put them in there? They have to, there got to be some kind of treatment, something that they're doing to help that person with that disease. Currently, that's not the focus. The focus is to put them in there to contain them.
Right. So they don't hurt them. So they don't hurt themselves more. Yeah.
So that cannot be the only reason why you put your mom in a locked up unit. I'm sorry, I don't want to talk. I mean, all these people are my friend. But the thing is, what are we doing for the brain? Because that's where the disease is. It's a cognitive issue. What are we doing on a regular basis to help this person with the cognitive issue? Besides taking care of them, make sure that they eat, they are safe, this and that. What are we doing with this? Yes, there is no cure, but what can we do? Is there anything that we could do? That's what I'm talking about.
Right. On your website, and again, it'll scroll across the screen, folks, and please jot it down and share it with your family and friends. There is a thing that popped up in my head. You refer to it as rejuvenage.
Yes, that's
and I want you to tell the people watching and listening a little bit of what is your concept of rejuvenage.
Yes. So Rejuvenage is a program that I have for people who are in their 60s, because prevention, I'm not asking you to prevent aging,
right?
But it's to slow down the progression of aging. For example, you have biological age, and you also have your chronological age. Your chronological age is your age that I can't stop. You're 30, you're 40, you're 50, you're 70.
Yeah.
But the first thing I like to do for Rejuvenate is to help you figure out what's your biological age, meaning that how old are you for real? Because you could be 60, but biologically you are 70 or 80. Or you could be 60. If you work at it, there are so many things that you could do. You can actually reverse your biological age, where your biological age you are in your 40s, where you're still in your 60s. And so my goal is to help people with Rejuvenage that start hitting 60, to help them back up their biological age so they can be at their best. So that's what I mean by aging gracefully. You're still aging, but you still have a lot of you're still vibrant. You're not facing those chronological, those long-term or chronic diseases as much. And if you do have, can we reverse them? Diabetes, hypertension, heart disease. Can we reverse these things? So that's what I do in Rejuvenate.
Well, and every once in a while you hear this phrase, "Oh, well, 70 is the new 50."
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a funny phrase, but it's very true.
It
is that they also will say you are as young as you feel, not as at what the calendar says.
Mm-hmm.
That you're going to have that birthday every year.
Yeah,
but if you have a birthday, but you still feel the age you were before, more power to you. Keep it up. Keep it going. Because eventually old age creeps up on all of us. It's just how we transition
Yeah.
into it and how we help it.
How do you function? How are you functioning? That's what it is.
Yeah,
Because functionality is very important, because you could be 60. I have seen 60-year-olds who can't do, who looks like 80, or they can't do
exactly.
anything. 80-year-old is more active than them because of what is going on with them biologically. So so our goal is to help you as early as possible so you can do that aging gracefully. Because when I started my home care company, I used to make that statement, helping people to age gracefully. Well, they were not aging gracefully. They were not. They were declining fast, and they were not doing well. And so that's when I start looking and said, what can we do? And you have to start as early as possible so you can decrease and not only physically, but work in the mental, cognitive health, brain health, body, every part, and that cellular level, so you can do things, so you can, when you're 60, you can still play pickleball without breaking your bones. You can still, you can still do a lot of things when you're 80. And that's just because you're 80 years old, that doesn't mean you need to sit in a rocking chair and stop rocking. There are so many things. My goal, Stuart, is to be able to take that 80-year-old person and still not only active, but being able to still be productive. To be able to productive, pass on some of their knowledge and skill to the younger generation. But when you're 80, you're dealing with so many chronic diseases. You don't have the motivation to do these things. But if you're healthy, what else are you gonna do? You're gonna take that time and be able to create things. Pass on your knowledge. I've seen so many smart people, doctors, engineers, and so many people who've done so many things in their past. And then at the age where they are now, when they have the time to be able to do things, write books, speak, encourage younger people, pass on their knowledge, they can't do it because they're so busy taking their pills.
Right. Now, you are located in North Carolina.
Yes, sir.
Now, the people that are watching and listening to this program are from all over the United States.
Yes.
Now, I'm sure that are some people that are saying, well, I can't get to North Carolina to take advantage of your programs, but are you connected with other people throughout the country that offer programs similar to the one that you have set up?
Yes. So most of my programs, like my Rejuvenate, is completely online. I can do, thank God for technology today.
Right.
Most of these things that I'm doing, I can teach a family member how to do it. I coach caregivers. I coach children of older adults how to do these things because they don't have the knowledge. And I give them the skill to be able to do it. I give them the knowledge. The only thing local that I do is the actual care when the person actually needs the care.
In-home care. Yeah.
Yes. And I have also nationally other home care friends that I work with, that if you need something, that I can refer you for care management and what have you throughout the country.
That's an important part of this program, folks, is that you can reach out to Emma and go to the website. There is a contact page there to reach out if you do have questions. And by the way, also on the website, she has a free report that is available to you. It's called 7 Critical Mistakes Family Caregivers Make. And I think it's very important that you take a look at that, because that free report might be of great service to you if you either are in a position of now giving care to your family members, or you perceive that down the road you are probably going to have to get involved. And you want to make sure that you don't just fly, without a plane. You want to make sure that you know what you're doing before you do it and how to get that information. And if not, reach out to Emma. She's there for you.
But the big thing too, Stuart, today I'm offering a free consultation to anyone who's listening to this program and who has a family member. Do not wait for an event to happen. Planning. So when you take advantage of my 30 minutes consultation, during that time, I will be able to do an assessment to see where you are with your mom or dad, or is it you, where you are, what's missing, and give you some recommendation of what the next step could be. So no matter what, whether somebody's dealing with some chronic disease already, don't wait until something happens. If you have an older adult that you are in your life, your mother, your
Right.
father, or you, give me a call.
And I have said this so many times on my program before, is you are much better to be proactive than reactive, because the reactant part is when you get that phone call, oh, your mom just fell down and broke her hip. Now you are reacting instead of working on a program to say, let's work on her strength and her bones and all, so that she can avoid falling down and breaking a hip.
And it's usually it's too late. The other reason that people need
Right.
to plan, Stuart, is because it's easier when you are planning with your mom and dad, because they're not children, they are adults who are
Right.
already making decisions. How you can't make them do things when they are younger and when they are not sick and you're not concerned yet, is the time to be able to make decision and plan ahead, because they are more apt to open for planning when they are in the right mind. When they start having borderline dementia or whatever, they're now very reluctant to receive care. They're very reluctant to talk
You're right.
about it. So when they are able to participate, they are able to make decisions themselves, that's the time that you start having this conversation. When you bring me in as a third party, I start bringing all these things out for you between you and them, and then they can start hearing it. At that time, they start making a plan. Imagine that your mom and dad has a plan ahead, how they want to age, where they're going to age, and how much it's going to cost. And they have it. It's in writing. It's not in their head. It's not in your head.
Right.
But it is something tangible, something that they can. All you have to do is implement what they want, not something that you think, mom, or you're going to wait when she's going to fight you because she already
Exactly.
made up the decision.
Yeah. Emma, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to have this conversation with me and with the people that are watching and listening, because you're a wealth of knowledge, and your background in nursing is absolutely that extra sauce that people need in order to care for their aging parents. And I thank you very, very much for taking the time to be with me.
Well, thank you, Stuart, for having me. This is a topic that is really dear to me.
I can tell.
That I talk with a lot of excitement. I can talk about this all day long. I want to scream it to from one end of the earth to the next, because I just want people to hear me. And it's not a matter that I want people to come and work with me. I want people to be educated about what's going on.
Exactly.
And I want people to take control of their own health. And we could, in this country, we can do better.
Right.
With
be
adults.
Proactive.
Be proactive. We could do better. And there is another way. Don't give up on your mom and your dad just because they are 80 and 90. They can still have vibrant, vitality, strength, and be in their mind. Everybody wants to go to bed and not wake up. That would be everybody's dream, but it doesn't usually happen that way.
Right. Well, again, thank you very, very much. That will do it for another episode of Someone You Should Know. I always end my show with Oscar Wilde, be yourself because everyone else is taken. And so go out and make it a great day and a great week. And again, the gentleshepherdcare.com. Check it out. And again, thank you very much to my special guest, Emma Soy. Thank you, Emma.
Thank you for having me.
Someone you should know.